Well, hello there, everybody. Hello, Magic Monsters. So here's the problem. I don't know how to fade out from one to another on that transition, from the nice, pleasing music to the very exciting sting. I don't know how to fade that. It's really a shame because it's supposed to fade, but it just never does. Welcome to the stream, everybody. Very excited that you're here. Very excited that I'm here. And I actually started a few minutes early because I was like, you know what? I fixed one bug. I was accidentally deleting these, and I was like, where are they going? And then I realized that I was deleting them from the scriptable object rather than making a clone of them. Or another way of doing it would be, yeah, there would be another way. Anyways, and there's still another bug, though. So let's go on with it. I have audio now, which is very exciting. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you. We've got audio in the scene now, and so I've got audio hooked up to the stream, and I've set it up so that I can hear the audio too. Can you hear that all right? Is it too low? Is it too high? Let me know. I don't know. Let me turn up my own volume. So yeah, so you can choose your skills.
Oh yes, I've been waiting for this.
It's non-gendered, so the voice is fine. Doesn't matter.
Are you done yet?
When you
Oh
change,
yes, I've been.
Let's go!
Seems like we'll have some fun.
it does. When you change characters, it speaks. You can change portraits. There's now 4 different portraits for every combination of race and class. So lots of options there. And if you choose non-gendered, then you get to choose from all of the options. Lucky you. All the fishies in the sea. So that's fun. There's a little bit more interactivity that our good friend Jason Storey was suggesting I add, and so now
Are
there's
you done yet?
more interactivity where even the selected one comes even further forward as you come forward, and there
Oh,
is a
yes.
slight
I've been waiting.
Let's go!
increase
Oh yes,
in the portrait
I've
size as
been
well.
waiting for this.
There's some interactivity here where the buttons get bigger and then they kind of get blue with the button. These get bigger as you go over these. These get bigger. Everything gets a little bit bigger as you go over it. There's the bump when you can't go any further. All that good stuff.
Are you done yet?
There's coloring. There's those turn off. Very exciting. These turn off when you can't select anything else. Alright, so here's the problem. Here's the bug.
Seems like we'll have some fun.
We'll find out. The problem is when I click this button,
Are you sure about this?
it's supposed to change voices, and it did. We all heard it change a voice. But
I'm ready.
Are you sure about this?
I'm ready.
I don't know what's going on there. I gotta fix that. Because it says there's 14 voices available, or actually 10 available, because it's not going to take the voices that are already being used. That way you won't have 2 characters with the same voice. But it's clearly not working properly. It's not random. So, alright, so somewhere along the lines of here, get next voice of type. Oh, you know what it might be doing? I'm saying voices. I need to say available voices. Oh, interesting. Get next voice of type is not a method on available voices. So, I suppose I just need to roll my own. And to do that, we're going to do a simple little check here. So, the next one would be whatever the index change is. So, the current index plus the next index. So we need to find the current index because I don't know what the current index is. So var current index is going to be equal to the available voices. Oh, interesting. You know, I wonder if this voice won't be in the available voices. That would explain it, I think, as well. Let's see if available voices contains that. So debug.log, and we'll say available voices contains this voice, and the answer is probably gonna be no. And we'll find out. So player.voice, yeah, that should be doing it. This is using the voices module in the game modules bundle, which I think I want to update. There were some quirkiness to it, and I think it can be made better. It needs to get some love, but it's still working, which is always a good thing, and it's pretty easy to use. You assign a voice to a character, and then is Unity going to be crashing all day long? The other day it kept crashing, and then I had an infinite loop, and I didn't know that it was me, not the editor, just crashing, and so it took me a restart and a couple of retries before I realized it was my issue, not the editor, because it keeps crashing on me. Hold on one second. Be right back. Did you miss me? Did you miss me a lot or a little bit? I loaded up the wrong project. This is the project I need to load up. Let's see. Oh man. Move things to trash. Alright. This is the party-based RPG. This is not. We will quit that project and keep this one up. Alright. So, we just want to see, does it contain the voice we have?
Are you sure about this?
Oh, it does contain this voice. That's weird. There are 10 available. There's a total of 14, but then there's 10 available, and it's supposed to be keeping at 1, 2, 3, 4. So really, this voice should not be contained in this. Oh. Well, at what point do we change the voice? Let's see. Player.voice equals new voice. So we don't get that until we go here. So this should be... Oh, we're doing clone voices. Let me see. I had the wrong one. We had to make a clone of the list because I was accidentally deleting things from the scriptable object because I was removing and I didn't clone it.
Are you sure about this?
Ah, okay, there we go. So false. So that's good because I expected that to happen. So that's helpful when something expects. Okay, so we kind of want to add to this. So we're removing stuff here. So we're removing in current voices. And I think we need to pass in the player voice here. And say don't remove the player voice because we want the player voice in the list. And then select those dot where x does not equal player voice to list. So we will put this in its order. So that is a link thing here, and it's saying select all the players' voices. So for each player, select the player's voice where the value is not the player's voice we passed up here, and then make that a list. So now we should have that voice available in there, and so what we're going to look for is our current voice. So var current voice, for current index rather, index equals cloned voices dot index of and player dot voice. I think that'll give us the index of it, and then we can say var next new index equals current index current index plus index change, and then we have to check to make sure it's not out of range, which means, you know, if we subtract, it should be above 0. Otherwise, we have to cycle through. So if new index is greater than the cloned voices dot count, and I think that's going to be greater than or equal to, not greater than, then new index equals 0. And if new index is less than 0, then new index equals cloned voices dot count minus 1. And that will cycle through both directions, and then new voice is going to be none of this. It's going to be cloned voices of that index, and then the new voice there. So we'll clean that up in a second, and let's see if it works. Third-party armor onto characters, that is extremely difficult. That's why if you look at the asset store, in fact, let's take a detour on the asset store. We're going to make a detour. First, we're going to Infinity PB. I can't spell InfinityPBR.com. First, we're going to click on the See All Assets button here because it's my affiliate link, and I appreciate it when you do that because we get a small 5% bump every time you buy any asset from the store, and that's always appreciated because it actually goes a long way. The store is very slow. The voices are done as scriptable objects. So yes, the voices module, while that loads very slowly, the voices module is one of the modules in here, but this is basically what one of the assets look like. You can autofill the content. So as an example here, I'll create a new voices right here, and we're going to say demo, and this demo we're going to choose the directory holding our files. So where is it? Where did I put it? I put it somewhere. Where is my, oh yeah, audio clips, voices, creation scene. Yep, so we'll just put voices up here, and then boom, autofill the contents. This is a bug, I need to fix that, but it's got all the voices there. We can add a new type, so we got 2 types right now, one voice, and we're going to call that female, and then we're going to add male there, and then you can just kind of go through and set these as whichever type you want. So you can have a lot of different types, and then you can do like random voices of a certain type and randomization and stuff like that. What's neat is there's also this lines thing. So because we had the naming convention, if we look at the actual things, they're called female, so the voice on the left, and then the names on the right. There's also things like emotions and different variations, so those are not used here, but you could have different emotions of the same line or variations of the same line. So, you know, for instance, for the creation scene, I could have them say things like, let's go, I'm ready, okay, stuff like that. And you can make those variations so that instead of playing a clip, you play a random clip from the selection. So that creates the new line, and essentially you've now got all of these voices with the lines that you've set. So you just have to assign a voice object to the character and then say voice.talk, I think it's talk.line, and put the line name in. And that's what we do here. Voice.speak, talk, say something. Play active voice, it is well, it's supposed to be, let's see, active player voice dot speak, talk, say. Well, somewhere, maybe I'm using it differently. Voices dot say, I forget, it's off the top of my head, but it's there and it works really well. Okay, so the other topic, this is loaded now. If you go to the 3D and you look at props, I think it's is the clothing section, and you look at clothing and armor, there's only 106 packages. 2 of them are mine. But there's only 106 packages in the armor section. Oh, wait. A shit ton of them are mine because of all the bonus files. But if you actually look at it, most of them are just things you can put on a head or on something that you can hold. I don't know what these look like. Full characters that are just miscategorized. Yeah, those look like full characters, so ignore those. But most of the armor and stuff is going to be helmets because and shields and stuff you can put on a bone rather than actual armor, because it's really freaking hard to make armor for a character that you don't control, because you don't control it, and that armor needs to be rigged and morphed and weighted to the character you're watching, which is why when you go to the armor section, you're going to find my stuff that works with my models, but you're not going to find that my stuff works with these gladiators or anything else. Maybe these work with these. I don't know. It's the same character or some creator, so maybe those work together. But I'm guessing these are just props. Like, you can't actually put these on a character is my guess. That's a very detailed description. Yeah, so somebody wrote a review 6 years ago and 2 months ago. It's hard to get reviews on the asset store, which makes me remind folks, don't forget to leave a review on the asset store. Always appreciate it, but these are going to be props. You're not going to be able to rig those to a character. I mean, you can bring them into a modeling application and rig them, but it's not particularly easy. You can do the helmets that way. The helmets you can put on a bone and it moves with the neck, because generally the head just moves with the neck. It goes up, down, left, right. That's that. But with the arms, if you rig something to a spine bone and then somebody raises their arms, the shoulders on the armor aren't going to change. They're rigged to the spine bone. So there you go. So yeah, if you doing it yourself is the way to go. I personally can't do it. I don't have that skills with the Z set. So yeah. All right, that should be that. Let's see if this worked.
Pick me!
Let's get some loot.
Let's kick some goblin butt, okay?
Let's get some.
Let's kick some.
Oh yes.
Are you done, Nick?
I'm ready.
Pick me!
Let's get some.
Let's kick some goblin butt, okay?
Oh yes.
Are you done, Nick?
Seems like we'll have.
I'm not afraid to die.
Sure. Are you sure about this?
Let's go!
I'm ready.
Pick me!
Let's get some.
Let's kick some goblin.
Oh yes.
Are you
There we
done,
go.
Nick?
Finally.
Adventure is my middle name.
Yeah. That name doesn't match. That voice doesn't match.
I could smash things, but I prefer hunts.
We need this to be a half-orc barbarian. There we go.
Adventure.
I could smash things, but I prefer hunts.
That works. Prefers hugs. A strategy for replaceable heads or other body parts that maintain blend shapes across the seam of the neck. Yes, so again, I don't do the modeling myself, but I do work with the people I employ to do the modeling. And so the trick is that when you set up the blend shapes, in theory, if weight 0 matches and weight 100 matches, then in theory, weight 50 will match as well. That's basically it. They should match in theory, but if they don't, then that's a challenge, and I don't actually know the answer. So maybe I don't have a strategy. If it doesn't match, then I'm not sure, actually. Oh, the bone's easy. The bone's super easy. That's literally just you expand the rig, find that neck bone or the head bone or whatever bone, and then make it a child of the bone. So the rig bones, the bones in the hierarchy itself, when you're looking at the character that's in the scene, you can expand the bone list, find the bone you want, and attach it to the bone. So if you're equipping a weapon, attach it to the hand bone. Some of our characters actually have a weapon bone because they're animated a specific way. So yeah, find that weapon, that hand bone, and now your weapon will just follow the hand pretty much. Same with the helmet. Just find the neck bone or the head bone, whichever one makes more sense, and use that.
Finally.
Okay, so we need two things. One, I need a start button because right now there's no start button. And so I think we're gonna put it. Well, I don't know. This scene goes like this. Look at that. So I think we're gonna change maybe change this to start. so that the it just gets covered by a start button. That seems like a decent idea. What we can do is just duplicate this. I think this is just a trick. I think this is just literally a trick. If we get the flavor panel, just duplicate it, and then we call this the start panel. Nobody will know that it's something different. Let's see. Well, we need different. We need to remove this. There we go. And now it should block out all the Flava Flav text. There we go. So the Flavor Flav text is still there. It's just we've blocked it out by this object. See? So what I think we'll do is when we're ready to start the game, we can turn that on. And that will have the big start button. And the big start button is going to be a big button. So let's see what we can do. Let's see. Start panel. We'll make this green just to make it a big green button. I think that seems okay. And we will say, instead of flavor text, start text, and we will say begin your adventure. Anything could happen on your adventure, and we will make this very, very big, and even bigger than that. 72 is like ultimate bigness. Make that a little bit more centered for my taste. Begin your adventure. And should the font be that color? Probably, but let's see what happens if we make it bright yellow. Is that okay? Or cyan is the color we've been using for selected things. So perhaps we can do white, and we can say begin your adventure is selected by making it cyan, like that. We'll try that and go for that. So this is going to be the start button. It's going to do something when you click it. I don't know what yet, but let's create a script because we know it's going to do something. It's probably going to start the game, but it's also going to save the data. That's the key thing for today's stream. Saving the data. Yeah, try again, because the bones are what's moving with the animation. So if the animation is moving the bone, then any child of the bone will move with it. So the trick here is we're going to create a start button script, and that's going to start the game. That's easy peasy. The trick will be the saving of the data, and we'll talk about that in a second. Start button, and we can put start button on our start panel. Is that the button? Do we have a button on this? We should make it a big giant button, so we'll add a button. Not that, I can't. My hands are in the wrong spot. Button. All right, so it's a big giant panel. So we will say it has this script on it. All right, start button. Nope, not stat button. That's gonna be confusing. Start button. And since we've been doing other cool stuff, I've got these other scripts. I should just move to the right folder here while we're talking about it. Menu button, selection, UI graphics fader, blah blah blah, all this stuff. All right, I think I can probably use the scalar UI graphics scalar code that I wrote to scale this, and I think it should just magically work. Hover on will make it 1.1, 1.1, 1.1, and let's just see if that magically works. It means that if we hover over it, it should scale up a little bit. There it is. It's very slow though, and too big. So let's try 1.03, 1.03, and the speed will do 3. Speed's still super slow. Well, it seems faster. Let's do 6. Alright, well that's better. What I think though is, instead of doing it there, I think we should put it over the text. So I will say copy component. We will put it over this. See if that works. Remove it here. Press play. I didn't change the 110 because maybe this works better with 110. There you go. There you go. So that's nicer, right? That's fine. All right. Yeah. that's just fine. Excuse me. So we can quickly just get some simple code here done. We do need to make it the right namespace. Namespace is infinity.modules.demo, and I don't think we need it, but system.serializable, and we will say public void got clicked, and this is going to start the game. Debug.log start the game, but save first. I can't spell first. And that should work, so let's check it out, test it out. We're going to use the built-in got clicked option here, on click option here, and we're going to just throw in this same script and call the start button got clicked. If it's public and it has one parameter or less, it will show up in that list, and then we start the game. All right, so let's figure out how to save data. This could be a bit of a challenge. It's something I've been wanting to do for a while. You can easily save the data in game modules. That's already a thing. When I was working on Legend of the Stones, my big epic RPG that I will one day finish, saving data worked just fine. The trick is with game modules v4, the part of the goal, besides introducing the quests module and general refactoring and cleanup, is more automation. In fact, there's one bit of code that I want to get rid of, and this is a little bit of an aside, but on my creation manager, this is really going to be the game data. So we're just going to call it game data, and I'm going to change the name of the script too, because it's not really the creation manager, it's the game data manager. So or just game data. So we're going to call this game data. Next. And so the one thing that has to happen is where is it? On the create characters, setup characters. That's all normal bespoke stuff that you have to do because it's your game. Switch to new character. Well, one of the things, where's the character class? Players is demo actor. There should be a start or something. Start actions. This one line I want to get rid of, because if you do not call start actions, then everything breaks. Things won't work because every script, every list on the game modules requires to know that this character, this demo actor, owns it. If it doesn't know who owns it, then it can't do things like compute stats and grab the other things in the lists and get all the other levels on all the equipment and other things. And it annoys me because I forget to add it, and if I forget to add it, then I think others will forget to add it. So I do want to figure out how can I make that automated. There's no update, so we can't do a on update thing. Plus, we're trying to get rid of all the updates so that there is no update loop on any of these if possible, although I think in some cases we might need one, but in most of them. Yeah, so that's that. And the other thing is then now with saving, I want it to be very similar. I want to be able to say, hey dev, all you have to do is call game data equals, or save data equal, var save data equals saved data. And that one line goes through all the game module stuff and says, well, save your data. So actually what you'd really be saving, to be clear, you'd be saving this list. So if we go to game data, you would probably be saving this. You'd have a script, a class here called save data. Maybe we can start writing it here. So it would be a private void. Actually, it would, yeah, we'll do a private void save data. We might change that later. And you're going to basically put in here the things you want to save. So for instance, we'll probably save this, the gold that the characters have. We probably won't save all this stuff because, well, that's just on the script. We don't need to save it. We don't need to save that. We will save. We don't need to save that. We don't need to save that. We definitely need to save the players because that's all the data for the players. So we would need to save that. We don't need to save that. We need to save the player index. We want to know who the active player index is. So we'll probably save that. And that is it. We just need to know who the active player is, how much gold we have, and the players. And those are what you're actually going to be saving. But the problem is, or the opportunity, if you want to spin it in the positive way, the opportunity is that this demo actor character, which is deriving from game module's inventory actor, this is a demo character that's going to be for this demo scene. Game module's inventory actor, however, is something that I would hope, if your character is using the inventory scene, otherwise just inherit from game module's actor, that this is the character you can inherit your player characters from this. So that means that it's a lot easier for you to use the game modules after we release the V4 of it, because all of this code is already here for you. So this code is specific to the inventory system. And if we go to the game modules actor, you'll see all the code for various things. These will eventually be removed. Quests and conditions, I'm going to try to get those to not use the tick, which is the update and late update. So this will change a little bit more too. But you get all these nice methods involved, and a lot of them are used automatically. Everything's automatic. As an example, when we add a stat here, all I'm doing is changing the point value. In fact, yeah, if we press play out, oh my lord, what are we doing here? Did everything change? Oh, I know what happened. I changed this to game data, but I didn't change it in this. I didn't change the reference. Oh yeah, public static game data, game data, game data. What is going on then? Oh, it just didn't update. Okay, so it wasn't a bug. It was a Unity thing. Sometimes it doesn't actually save the stuff, the files. I don't know why. Don't forget to give it a like and subscribe, everybody. All right, so if you notice, these are actually 11. All of these start at 11, but based on the class you are, the skills or the stats are different, right? So the human, or let's say the half-orc, has more might, the elf has less might and more wisdom and accuracy, where the base is 11, so, you know, the human has mostly 11 stuff. But similar to the class, with the base being 11, you can see where the benefits are and where the benefits are not for each class. And when you combine them, you get random different things. But when you add stuff here, you can see a lot changes. So not only is we're only adding 1 point. All this button does is say add 1 point. Add 1 point to personality. From that, the system automatically recomputes the final stat for personality. And since personality for the paladin affects magic points, as we increase personality, magic points go up too. That's also getting recomputed automatically. And that's the gist of the game modules. Everything should be as automatic as possible. For stamina, that's going to increase our hit points. So you can see how all I'm doing is one line of code, literally add point. And once it adds a point, everything gets recomputed automatically, and it's wonderful. So I want the saving to be very similar. I want you to be able to say, save the game, and call basically one thing. In fact, you won't even call it. You'll just send an event to the blackboard saying save, and everything will save itself. And then you will just serialize the bit, and that's it. And it's just automated. And when you load it, you'll call load, and it'll go the opposite route. Yeah. That makes sense? Today was 6 hours of meetings at work. So I'm kind of in a hyper mood. I feel like sitting in this chair for 6 hours on Zoom isn't good for my health. What do you think? Is it good for your health? Is it bad for your health? All right, what are we going to do about saving? Let's see. Well, I guess we can start by saying every, like, if we just want to save our game stat gold, what is game stat really going to save? So now game stat itself is the in-game version of a stat. We can look at the gold stat, and this will actually help me too. I feel like I have allergies. Where is our stats? Do you see stats? I do. Okay, I found it. Gold. So this is a scriptable object, gold. As you can see, it can't be trained, can't be modified. We're only using the points as a counter, but we are notifying the blackboard, and that's fine. So the gold is just a point thing. At their core, really, game stats are going to be mostly just points. So let's look at the game stat, and we'll kind of mark and see which things get serialized, which things get saved. So we don't need to worry about the parent list. The parent list is set automatically when you call parent. If it doesn't exist, or parent list, actually, how does parent list? I guess that would be serialized. So let's mark this as saved. So I'm going to just kind of mark these as I go. We will need to save the parent list because I think a game stat won't know what list it's on. But I'm also thinking that the game stat list should just save its own children. 16 hours a day coding for 7 days a week. That doesn't sound healthy either. Do you take walks? I try to take walks. For the past few weeks I haven't, though, because it's been very rainy here in California, and because I've also been coding for many hours, and I like that part. I could sit here for a long time coding and be happy. 6 hours of meetings, though. Oh, boy. But I do need to get more walks in, because walks are good for the psyche and for the heart, probably. So I think two things. One, GameStat needs to be able to save its own data because, it might not have a parent. Like in the case of our gold, it has no parent. It's not part of a GameStat list. But for the... okay, so this won't need to be saved because if we say, hey, GameStat list stats, save yourself, it's going to save all its children and then put them all into one thing, one object that gets serialized. So we don't actually need to save that parent list. When we load the data, we'll load it through the parent list, and that will set that for us. Oh yes, the pandemic screwed people. I actually lost weight during the pandemic because I stopped eating free lunch at work. And the free lunch at work is damn good. Sometimes I look at the menu because they're doing it again, and I'm like, oh, I remember I love Thai Day. Ooh, Indian Day. Thai Day was the best though. Thai Day was so good. But I gain weight because I'd eat the lunch and it was really tasty, and then I'd bring home food from the lunch for dinner because, you know, it saves money, and the food was really tasty. And then when the pandemic happened, I just walked more and ate less, and that does the trick. Really, it's the eating less part. Anyways, so we don't need to save our parent because parent is set automatically. We will save our UID. That is definitely something we need to save. It's extremely important, in fact. Why is this duplicated? Oh no, it's just gain UID. I just read that wrong. Okay. We don't need to save that. Set parent list. We don't need to save that. Owner is going to be the parent list owner. But I think we do need to save the owner. Well, I guess not, because similarly, this will be saved underneath the owner. Maybe. Will the owner know this is its child? We'll see. Object name, object type. Those actually don't need to be serialized. They will, but they don't need to be because we can always get that from the repository. Dictionaries do need to get saved. That is for sure. Game ID does need to be saved. And these do not need to be saved. None of the properties get serialized. And the only other things will be these need to be saved. Those three need to be saved. The final ones do not. This one does, the index, and might as well do the name at the same time. And what about these two? Mastery level. Add to mastery level. Mastery level index +1. Set mastery level. Recompute active mastery level. So this gets it automatically, right? It looks like set mastery level. Yes, it gets it from its parent, which is the scriptable object. Okay, so we don't need to save those because they can be gotten. And yeah, the food with the calories are the worst for gaining weight. All right, so those are the things we need to save for this one, I think, which isn't really that much data. But we do need to dig in closer because dictionaries is its own thing that will have to save its own stuff. So if we do I'm just going to start riffing on the code here. Save and load. All right, so we need to have a method called save data and a method called load data. So we're going to say this is on the game set itself. So okay, public void. Actually, it's not going to be a void. It's going to be something, but void save data. And then we're going to do public void load data. And we're going to pass something in here. It's probably going to be a string saved data. It's probably going to be a JSON string. And then debug.log load data. We'll do that later. And save data is actually going to return a string. Not strong, a string. And what are the things again? I'm just going to kind of copy them and we can paste them. So we need to save UID. So var saved UID equals UID. And is that how we're going to do this? How did I do it in Legend of the Stones? Maybe we should load it up and see. It's been a while. Legend of the Stones. It's not here. If you notice this bug, I've got more projects than this, but it won't show. It disappears projects every once in a while. Add project from disk. Legend of the Stones. Legend of the Kidney Stones. Where is it? August, June. Nope. Nope. Neither. This is our projects book of the dead. It would be nicer if the hub wouldn't kick projects out of it. It's not first-person RPG, is it? It could be. No. This is old. That's an old one. All right. Oh, yeah, 2001. Let's look at date modified. How about that? Where is it? This one. First person RPG backup copy. That's actually Legend of the Stones. Don't judge. I just didn't have a name when I first started making it. And then I don't know why it's not starred. I'm pretty sure this is it. Uh-oh. Cancel. Editor version is 2021.3.3. I don't have that version on anymore. I have 3.13. Let's hope. It might take a long time to import, and that would be a shame. Uh-oh. Yeah, that's fine. Anyone know a good joke? Yeah, so this is might take a little bit. I'm gonna swing it over here. Let's think. How did I save it? How did I think? I think I just saved it. I think I just said save the dictionaries. I think every player had its own special save. What's this? Some of the projects API may have changed. Oh, really? Yeah, all right, we'll do that. I mean, I'm going to have to not redo, but update the project with the latest game modules anyways, so might as well do whatever. So this is going to give back a single JSON string with all of its save data. So I think what we're basically going to do is we want to be able to save one thing and have it do everything it needs to do. So should it be its own class like GameStatSave that has all the details, the pertinent details, and then that is the thing that gets saved? And then you just load that and it knows what to do with it. Maybe? Because we're going to use JSON. It's very similar to clone. If we look at the clone code here, it's JSON utility to JSON and from JSON. Uh-oh, I said it 3 times. I said JSON. Okay, everybody? I did not invoke he who shall not be named. JSON. So basically we're going to say JSON to JSON and pass in the class we want to save, but we don't want to save just everything here. I guess we could, but we don't, because we just don't want to. That's just too much. It's ridiculous. It will be bloat. So I guess what we can do is create a new class. Let's try this. Let's try this pattern, and we'll create a new class called GameStatSave. And we will say save data will be a new GameStatSave. We'll populate it and then make the JSON, and that's the file, that's the string that's going to be returned here. So default. So to do that, we're going to start with dictionaries, because this has a dictionary. So either way, we're going to have to do dictionaries before we can do this one. So let's go with the dictionaries first. Dictionaries will be an interesting one, because a lot of things we're going to be saving the UID rather than the object, because we can't serialize scriptable objects. So we're going to save the UID, and then on the load, it's basically going to reconnect the UIDs with the scriptable objects. Oh, you're also a JSON, huh? There's a lot of JSONs in my game development life. It's kind of funny and creepy and weird. It's also a very common name, isn't it? Crack of the knuckles. Okay, so to do dictionaries, we're going to do very similar. We're going to say dictionaries. This is a serializable one. It's not a game. It's not a. There's no scriptable object for dictionary, so it can be saved. So for this one, we will say save and load. I need to. Well, it's kind of cleaned up, I guess. It's kind of nice. I should, let's see, save. No, I don't have it. Okay, so let's do a save and load, and we'll do it near the top. Yeah, we'll do it near the top, and I'm going to copy this. I like the way this looks better than the ones over here. So we'll just put this save and load. And there we go. See, I like that better. I think that looks prettier. And it's important to have pretty looking things. That's why I keep mirrors around me. Boom, I actually don't like mirrors. I don't like them. They're always judging you. Alright, so we have the save and load. So we're going to do a public string save data. And we're going to do the same for all of these. It's essentially going to be the same thing. And then we're going to do a public string load data. No, not string, public void, and debug.log load dictionary data. But it's going to take in a string, so string saved data. All right. So to do our saved data, what are we going to do for this? Dictionaries has, what is dictionaries? A list of key values. So that means each one of these will need to be able to send back its thing. So what we're going to do is have a list, a string. Yeah, we'll make a list of strings. We can serialize that. So var data to save equals new list string. And then we're going to essentially, this is just a, but we also have this name. And I don't really think the name is used ever in dictionaries. But we'll probably want to save it just in case somebody is using it, because it could be used with custom code. We can delete this. It's been long enough. It's also probably been long enough about this too. So we can probably delete that too, but we won't yet, just in case somebody is using the old version. So I guess we need a save class for this too. So I'm going to put it up here. We'll move it in a second. Public class, dictionaries save, game stat save dictionary, save dictionaries. Dictionary save is probably save data. We'll do save data. That's pretty explicit. Sound good to you? I think it's okay. It's not too long, I don't think, and it's pretty explicit. I hope that save data is pretty clear what that is. So this is going to be a class, so none of that. And on this system.serializable, we are going to have a public string name, a public list of string key values, UID, so public string UID. What else? Anything else? I think that's it. Those are what we're saving. Key value itself is going to have a thing. Okay. So our save data is going to say, when we save the data, when we call this, oh, my mouse stopped working. That's annoying. All right. Oh, come on, mouse. Work with me. Work with me, mouse. Okay, there it is. So data save equals new dictionaries save data. And we're going to say data to save dot UID equals UID. And do we do this on this one? Yes, we'll do it right. So data to save dot name equals name. And now let's do the key values. Each key value will need to have a way of saving and loading its own data. So we'll dig into that. Let's see. They have their own UID, they have their own key, and they're going to have a whole bunch of values. And just looking through real quick. Where are the values? Oh, I see. Each one of these formerly serialized as the deprecated, not depreciated. Is it all right if I take a moment and just make this easier to read by removing all these formerly serialized as's? Because it's been a very long time since they were formerly serialized as those things. So I think it's time to remove them. I wonder if there's a magic key or button or option to automatically remove all formerly serialized as's from the scene. As's, not as's. As's. As is. You guys heard about Hugh Jackman? I guess he's some Australian movie star. The thing is, I have no idea anything about him. I'm really just wondering why this Ackman guy is so huge. Ha ha ha. Get it? Yeah, I'll be here for at least another hour. Not doing this for another hour. Just doing things. So this is all the different types that the dictionary saves. You know, you can use these in other different ways too. You can always use these in your own project in whichever way you'd like to use them. There can be quite versatile because you can serialize the data in them, and one key value can hold all sorts of different data, which has been useful if you're trying to, you know, store something like an int and a string at the same time. You can do that, and since each value is actually a list of that type, you can store a whole bunch of things. So, for example, if you have some dialogue, written dialogue, and you want variety, so that every time you load up a dialogue string, it gives you a random dialogue string, then you could use dictionaries to have a whole bunch of strings in one thing and just call a random one from that, and you'd be all set. So dictionaries can be very versatile. All right. So we do need to save our dictionary, our key, UID, and all the different values. So if we look at our strings, we're going to be able to save the value strings. Well, you know, I think we can probably just save almost everything. Let me just look real quick. So these things we can save the bools and the floats and all that just by saying, you know, write the whole key value to a JSON. But what I'm wondering about is I don't think these objects get saved. We'll have to do a test at some point. And so you'd have to load this somehow. We'll have to do a test on those. I think they don't get saved. We can ask ChatGPT. Let's do that. I always like doing this because it's just fun these days. Don't you agree? I'm glad you agree. Me too. All right. Exceptionally high demand. All right. Well, let's see. We're going to ask in Unity, is it possible to serialize a texture 2D in JSON data? In Unity, it is not possible. That's what I thought. Wow, they really are experiencing high demand right now. There are a few ways. So this is what I was hoping. This is the thing I like about ChatGPT. It could just say no, but instead it says, but you can do all of these options instead. Oh, a byte array, really? Interesting. Interesting. So that's interesting. So the idea is if I save, let me talk it through. So these portraits, as an example, are saved in dictionaries, but they're saved on the scriptable object. So they're just always going to be there, and I can always call them up. But if I were to use the dictionaries to say, hey, assign this texture 2D to that, and then I want to load that later, it will not save properly. So let's ask ChatGPT. I have a hunch. Is it possible to save a reference to the texture in the project via a GUID or something, and use that when we load the data? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking instead of saving that, since these textures aren't going to be written on the fly, and maybe that's just going to be a limitation of the save system, we can save the GUID and then load it from the GUID when we load the data. And I suppose we'll make sure that the save method is something you can override, or maybe if you have a custom use case, you would just write your own save method. They just copy most of what is already written and then make your own save method. I think that would make the most sense. Let's see what it's telling us, and it might be wrong. It does get it wrong sometimes. The asset GUID is a unique identifier. We know that, or we hope we know that. You can use the asset path to GUID method to get the GUID of the texture, and you can use the Unity editor asset data. I mean, at that point, it's probably just easier to get it from the database or from the scriptable object, because it's just effectively the exact same thing. String path is Oh, interesting. Yeah, I don't think we're going to deal with that right now. So let's not deal with that right now. Instead, we'll do the basics, and I'll have to think more on how to do the rest. So I think what we'll do is save that, but I do want to look at the game modules types, because these will have a special thing. These should have so these are just a list of strings. They're lists of UIDs, and when you say oh, Legend of the Stone's just loading. Alright, well, I don't think we really need it anymore. There it is. I remember what I was working on. Getting this all working. Alright, well, we'll just close that for now. So the idea is that these are all strings. So oh, that's type. Let's look at the actual objects, not the types. Condition. All right. Yeah, all of these will work. Okay, so stat. So value stats is the object, but value stats ID are the strings. So we can easily call the stats from that. In fact, when you say stat values, value stat, it says it should take the values UID. Yeah, it gets by UID. So we have the object, let's see, what does it do? So if it's random, we get our index of that, and it shouldn't be out of that list. Value stat index not equal, no. Okay, the object existed and return it. I can refactor this at some point. And if it didn't exist, we have to get the repository. And if an error if we don't, because that should be there. Found object is get by the UID and return that. Yeah, and we also set it into the stat list there. So we are only saving the UIDs. We don't care about the fact that we're not saving the rest. So since we're just saving the strings, I think we can just say for each one, we'll just serialize the whole key value. Okay, that was a long way around to get to the save and load. Is we're going to say data to save. Well, let's see. Was data to save is going to be a list of string for key value. So okay, for each var key value in key values, data to save dot key values dot add. We're going to do JSON utility dot to JSON key value, and then the whole thing, all of data to save, is going to get JSONed out. So we're going to return JSON utility, not JSON, JSON utility dot to JSON data to save. All right. So that's going to basically all the key values are going to be saved as a JSON file, and then we're going to save all of those as a JSON file in data to save. And if you think about all of that's going to eventually put in a JSON file as well. So we're just going down that route here. And so we're going to say here, we got our save data. To reload it, we're going to say data from save equals JSON utility dot, and we'll say var here, var, from JSON and saved data. Why isn't this working? Oh, when you say from JSON, and the type is dictionaries save data. All right, so we get that. I'll turn off this. We get that, and then from there we have essentially this. So we're going to say set UID, or we'll just say UID equals data from save.uid, and name equals data from save.name. And then we're going to rebuild the key values. And this is where I suppose I'll need to figure out the trick to saving the textures and such. Because really what we're going to say is just key values equals JSON utility. Well, actually, yeah, we're going to say clear key values.clear. And then we're going to say for each var saved key value in data from save dot key values, we're going to say key values dot add JSON utility dot from JSON, and it's going to be key value. Saved key value. That should be it. So we're just reversing it essentially. Excuse me, didn't hit the mute button in time, and I apologize profusely. So So that should do it. We're going to have to test that later because we have nothing to test it with yet. We can use object initializer for that. And the only trick, though, of course, is that it's not going to save the object. So if you add a texture 2D to this, then it won't save that, and it won't serialize that. So I guess the real trick is, hey, don't add texture 2Ds. Use texture 2Ds as a repository of information, which is really the most common use case I would expect of it. But yeah. And that is actually an important bit here. So for the load, we need to do something else here. Instead of that, we need to do something else. So we're going to say we're going to do two things. Okay. Loaded key value equals. We don't do that. Okay. We can't do that. Oh, we can say, so key values to add, and then key values, last key values dot load saved objects. And this is going to be a reconnection thing, essentially. So it's going to be down here, and let's put a note here. This will reconnect the non-serializable objects, sprites, audio clips, etc. from the oh shit, that's not gonna work. Well, it could work. We're gonna have to pass in the all right, instead what I'm going to do is make a note for myself. I'm going to come back. I'm going to circle back to this because I'm not sure exactly what to do here. So I'm going to make a note saying debug.log warning, and we're going to say, hey, circle back to this. How to this? Read the note. Okay. And here's our note. It's going to be... we need to load the non-savable objects from the scriptable objects, or find a way to save them, which means we need to know which object to grab from. Or null. If there's null, then there's nothing we can do. If there is a scriptable object, it would really be we'd have to pass in load data here. Mouse work. We'd have to pass in a modules scriptable object here. Module scriptable, and we'll pass that null. So we'll pass in the module scriptable object. So pass in module scriptable object, and we can get the data from that. So in other words, when GameStat does the dictionaries dot load data method, it's going to pass in its own parent, and then we'll use the parent for that. So we'll circle back. All right, but otherwise the main data is being saved and loaded, I believe. We haven't tested it. Could easily be a bug, but we'll see. So now going back to the game stat itself. Did I just get a bug bite? I hope not. Why would I get a bug bite? No windows are open. Anyways, we're going to do something similar up here. Or wait, we already did it though, didn't we? Did we do it? No, we didn't. Okay, we'll just do a quick little copy here. We're going to do something similar. We're going to call this stat saved data, right? Save data, save data. And we need to save a few things. We won't delete those. what did we say? We're saving the UID, so public string UID, and we are saving don't think we need to save the owner. I think we can set that. We'll have to put a note here. Set owner, set UID, set parent list, etc. We don't need to set those. Well, they'll be saved automatically anyways, right? Will they be? I mean, technically they wouldn't be. So we'll save them, I suppose. I feel like... Actually, you know what I really feel like? I feel like my good friends Jason and Uri and Dave and other smart folks like that would lead me to where I'm thinking I'm leading astray. I think that there's an easier way to do this, but I'm not sure exactly what that is. Let me talk it through. What I'm thinking is I should be able to serialize all of this, and somehow when it comes to, say, the dictionaries, instead of trying to serialize dictionaries, it automatically serializes the way I want it to. But maybe not. I'll ask them when I talk to them next. Public string object name and public string object type. So we'll have those saved for now. And then dictionaries, and that's going to be a JSON. So public JSON strings. We're going to say public string dictionary JSON dictionary. Game ID. And we need to do that. Oops. Set game ID. Load dictionary JSON. Auto compute. I guess we need to save that too. Okay. And then we need to save all of those and those. Not those. Okay. So we'll just do this here. Public string, or this is going to be a float. Float points. Public float base value. Public float base proficiency. Public string mastery level name, and public int mastery level index. Those are what we're going to be saving from here, and that should be it. Okay. So let me just kind of paste that there for a cheat sheet. And then what we're going to do here, if we're saving the data, we're going to say var new saved data equals no new stat saved. What do we call it? We called it stat saved data. var stat saved data equals new stat saved data. Spelled it wrong. Okay. Saved data dot uid equals uid. Saved data dot game id equals game id. Game id. And save data object name equals object name. Save data dot object type equals object type. Save data dot auto compute equals auto compute. Save data dot points equals points. Save data dot base value equals base value. You see where this is going? It's pretty. Save data dot base proficiency equals base proficiency. Save data dot mastery level name equals mastery level name, and save data dot mastery level index equals mastery level index. And then and then we will do the object initialization for those. We'll do it that way, and I could have done that from the start, but I didn't. And then JSON, let's do that here too. JSON dictionary equals dictionaries dot save data, and that'll give us all that. And what do we pass in here? No parameters string. JSON is a string. Oh, we're just leaving it blank. Okay, and that's our save data. That should be our save data, and we return dot JSON utility. Yeah, we'll return JSON utility dot to JSON saved data, and then we will do the opposite for load data. So we pass in this file, and then we say var loaded data equals save data, or JSON utility dot from JSON. It's stat saved data, and pass in saved data, and then from that we will say set owner to, oh shit, we can't do that. So we can't set the owner. So what we're going to do is we're not going to save the owner. Oh, we don't. Duh. Okay. We have to set the owner elsewhere. Okay, yeah, sorry, I confused myself with my notes here. So we're going to debug.log warning. If I forget to do this, there will be a warning. Set owner from the object that called this. Okay, so we are going to set the UID. So set UID to be loaded data.uid. Okay. Set game ID, or game ID equals loaded data.game ID. Do we not? Well, I guess we don't have a set game ID system because there's just, that's not a thing. It creates its own game ID. Object name equals loaded data object name. Object type equals loaded data object type. Auto compute equals loaded data. Loaded data auto compute. Points equals points, or loaded. I'm going to do something here. Okay. Points equals load data points. And base value equals load data base value, and base proficiency equals load data base proficiency. mastery level name equals loaded data dot mastery level name, and I can reduce my bug count here, and mastery level index equals loaded data dot mastery level index. All right, and another bug. All right, and then we need to load our dictionaries. So to do that, we're going to say dictionaries dot load data. I should change that. It says load date, and we're going to pass in loaded data dot JSON dictionary. That's a string, and when we go in here, it's loading the saved data from that. Okay, loaded data. Load data. All right. That should do the thing. We just need to set the owner. So I have stats owner equals null. And then so we can do that up here, set owner to owner. And if it's null, it's null, because that is possible for one of these to be null, technically. All right, so that should save our data. And now from our character, we just need to call this to save it. And so when we go to our game modules actor, probably, what does this inherit from? Yeah, so this is from the game modules actor. We're going to do save and load here. And public string save data, and public void load data, which takes in a string saved data. And for this, we'll eventually do all of these, but for now we will just say what will we do? How will we do this? Well, first of all, it's going to be virtual, just in case somebody inherits from this instead of the other, so they can override it. So var saved stats equals stats.savedata. Do we not? Oh, shoot, this is a game stat list, so we need to do the game stat list. And this is going to say get that for each one. All right, so this is going to be public list string saved data, and this is going to say var saved data equals new list string, and for each var stat game stat in list save data dot add game stat dot save data, and technically all this other stuff is going to have to be saved too, because this could change mid-game if you change that at runtime for some reason, which I don't know why you would. Which means that we need a game stat list save data class 2. guess so. All right, let's try that. Public class game stat list saved data. And this is, I'll tell you, something that I might end up aborting all of this and redoing it completely. In fact, there's a decent chance I'll redo most of it at some point. The goal is just to get something that kind of works and then go from there. So similar to game stat, it's going to have basically a bunch of strings and whatnot. So we are going to say public bool post list to Blackboard, and public bool notify on post, and public string note subject. We'll have to have a method for saying the owner, just like the other one. We don't need that, we don't need that, and that's it. And then we're going to have a public string or list string game stats equals new list string. Okay. Alright, that's what we're saving. And so var saved data equals new game stat list game save data, and inside here we are going to say post equals post list to Blackboard, and notify on post equals notify on post, and note subject equals note subject. Return save data, but we still need to add in the lists. So we're just returning a string. Okay. And then for each var game stat in list, save data dot game stats dot add game stat dot save data, and then save data dot JSON utility dot to JSON saved data is the string we will return. And we have to do load data as well, so can't forget about that. Public string or void load data, and you know what, I'm just gonna copy load data. We'll do this. Okay. And for this one, we're actually going to set the owner at the end, which really sets the owner twice, but that's okay, no big deal there. Because when we set owner on a list, it sets the owner for all the children of the list as well. So now we have our var loaded data equals JSON utility from JSON, and this is going to be game stat list saved data, and passing in the saved data. And then we will say post list to Blackboard equals loaded data dot post list to Blackboard, notify on post equals loaded data dot notify on post, note subject equals loaded data dot note subject, and then for each var saved game stat in loaded data dot game stats, we will say, well, first we have to clear it, right? So game or list dot clear, and then list dot add JSON utility dot from JSON game stat. No, we have the load method. Yeah, so just add a new game stat. Null. Can we do null? Huh. We should have an add method that takes in a save file then. Or one that takes in nothing. And then we can say list last one dot load data and pass in our saved game stat. And that should load the data there as well. And then we set the owner for everything. And we will pass in the owner here too. Why not? And that should load the data. So now we can save and load those data. So now for save stats equals stats.save data. And then return saved. Actually, where are we returning? What are we returning? We are going to save the data as a JSON string. And so I guess we can do another yeah, we'll have to do another public class game modules actor saved data. It's the same pattern repeated in each and every object. So public string stats equal stats public string conditions public string quests public string dictionaries and public string game ID. Those are the things I believe that we need to save on this and nothing else. The owner will be set when we load. Okay. So what we'll do is start by saying var saved data is equal to new game modules actor save data, and inside this, is that right? No. Inside this we will say that the stats equals stats dot save data, and then dictionaries equals dictionaries dot saved data. The rest we'll do later because we don't have the rest. So conditions, quests, dictionaries. Okay, and then we will return save data, or do it right, JSON utility dot to JSON saved data, And then for loading, we will do the opposite again, of course. So var loaded data equals JSON data from JSON, and it's of type game modules actor saved data, and pass in saved data, and we will need to know the I have stats owner, or actually that's going to be this. All right, and then from this we will load it. So stats.clear and stats.load data loaded data dot stats, and this just takes in a string. Does it clear itself? It does clear its list, so we don't need to do the clear. And we need to pass in this as the owner. Okay, so we don't need to do the clear, and we just need to pass in the owner, and then dictionaries dot load data loaded data dot dictionaries, and that doesn't take in an owner. It takes in a module scriptable object, but in this context there is none. But in the context of GameStat there is. So parent. At this point the UID should be set. Yep, and so we'll be able to get the parent. And that's the module scriptable parent, modules scriptable object parent. I think that should work. And in this case, since dictionaries is just saying on top of this actor object, this module's actor, it's not a scriptable object, so we're not going to pass in that flag. And we will need to do these additional things for loading. I'm going to put dictionaries at the end because it's slightly different from the rest. So that should save and load this data. 2 more steps. Bear with me because there's just 2 more steps. We are overriding this here. Is any of this stuff we need to save? Yes, it most certainly is. So we need to override these 2 methods here. So I'm just going to copy all of this and put it here, and we are going to put it here. Okay, and so for save data, what we're going to do is we can't do the base because the base has this. So what we're just going to recreate it. So these are going to be override, and we're going to do all that same stuff, but we're also going to save this additional stuff, such as, well, actually we can't do it right now because I haven't done the stuff for the game item object list. So we'll say inventory items and or equipped items, and we'll probably need to save last item added. Oh no, those are different. Those don't need to be saved. I don't think we need to save the spots. I think that is stored in the game object, so we don't need to save the spots, but we do need to save these 2, and then we will need to, of course, load those 2 as well. And the final thing is 1 more override, because our demo actor inherits from game modules inventory actor. So in our save and load here, we're going to override save data, override load data, do all those, but all the additional things that we need to save here are going to have to be saved. So I'm literally just going to, well, we're going to do skills, so that's good. Let's add skills. custom data for demo actor, just to separate those out. So skills. Oh, I see. So we are going to have to do this as well. Actor, inventory actor, and adding these custom for inventory actor is going to be public string inventory items and public string equipped items, and demo actor saved data, and then custom for demo actor, and that's going to be public string actor race. Oh, those are item attributes, so that's actually going to be UID, actor race UID, public string actor class UID, and we'll load them by just calling the repository, which holds the reference to all those scriptable objects. Public string gender UID, public string skills, public I guess we can save those instead. Yeah, we'll save those as well. String game actor race, and public string actor class, and public string actor gender. And we're going to note here saves the game item attribute. So it's very more clear that these are those, whereas these saves the UID to grab the scriptable object on load. And this is just like the stats. And we're going to say voice name. So public string voice name. All right, so we're not going to load and save all this right now. I'm interested in testing it with the stats is all I really want to test it with, maybe with skills as well. All right, so this is going to be demo actor save data. So we'll do those two things, and we'll just ignore the rest for now. Well, I guess we can do the other stuff. Let's just do some of the stuff that we can do. And we'll do the load. I won't do the load right now. I'll do that later once we know where we're actually saving stuff. All right. So we have the skills equals skills.saveData. But in front of that, we're going to do the actor race UID equals actor race.uid, actor class UID equals actor class.uid, and actor or gender UID equals gender actor gender.uid. Then we have our skills. Then we have actor, race, etc., and those will be saved later. So game, actor, race, actor, class, actor, gender, and then voice name equals voice dot name. Voice. What's set voice? Set voice. Oh, underscore voice. Okay. Voice dot name. Wouldn't it be name? Is it not voice dot name? Is it object name? Probably toString then. Oh, voice dot voice. Instead of name, it's voice. I should probably change that. That's confusing. Clearly, voice dot voice. All right. So that should save the data. So now when we call this, we should get a JSON string that would be the thing we actually save and serialize. And then at that point, you can encrypt it, and if you want to encrypt it, etc. All right. So circling back now to our button, which is actually circling back to our game data. Okay, well, we'll add the gold later because we're actually saving the game data. So we need to do this one more step, but we're going to just do it here instead. So save data, we're going to say add gold, etc. later. But I just want to test this. We're going to say var save saved demo actor equals demo. Oh, because each player is going to have that shit. So actors equals new list string, and for each player in players saved demo actors dot add player or JSON utility dot to JSON player. All right, and then we're going to return JSON utility dot to JSON save demo actor. So we're gonna have to flesh this out later. But what I want to see is on this button, our start game button, I'm just going to do a test. This is I will delete this from here. It doesn't live here later. But what we're going to do on got clicked, we're going to be using static Infinity PBR modules demo game data. On this, we're going to say var saved data equals game data dot save data. Game data. Oh, I made it. Where is it? I made it private. Public. Actually, yeah, this is what we'll do. We'll do public void do save. And so on start button, we'll just say do save. All right. And we don't need to do any of that. We're just going to do that. And maybe we can delete that note because we won't delete it. And this is where we're going to say var saved data equals save data, and then debug.log saved data. And that should print out our big JSON string if we did it right and there's no bugs. I'm not going to hook up the whole logic for showing this yet because I want to just go like this. Okay, this is expected, but this is not. That's too bad. That's empty. That's what that is. Why is that empty? Let's do a test. Debug.log, and we'll say test and JSON utility.toJSON players 0. Let's see if we can just get one thing that should serialize just fine. Okay, so this is what we should be seeing. All that shit. But we don't necessarily want to be saving all this stuff. So, all right, this is the thing. I think I've gotten close, but I think there's an easier way to do it that I didn't do. So I'm going to check with my friends and check that out. So for now,
Let's kick some goblin butt, okay?
let's kick some goblin butt, okay? So for now, I think I'm going to call it
Adventure
a
is my
stream.
middle name.
Because it was a long day and I'm tired, and I think my voice is also giving out because I've done too many 5-hour streams recently. So this one will be shorter at only 1 hour 57 minutes, so 2 hours. So anyways, thanks for hanging out, everybody. Don't forget to give it a like and subscribe. Appreciate that you've been here. And I will see you later. Have a good one.